Okay, hey everyone. I am just going to do a recording. Hopefully, you see my little face in the bottom corner. I have been a little sad. I've been recording a different way, and I've just remembered that we have access to Stream, which allows us to do a video presentation and record ourselves in the corner. That's going to be important for the next couple of speeches that you do. So, I would highly recommend using Google Stream to record your video and then uploading it to YouTube. Okay, so I will actually put a link in the announcements or in a page on how to do that. Stream is available to you as a student with your Microsoft Office 365 suite. So it's not a software that you need to purchase or that you pay for. It's something that you should have access to all of the time. All right, let's go over what the module is going to look like this week, and hopefully this helps. um, your informative speeches, of course, are due, but we're looking at Module 6, friends. We have 2.5 more modules, and then this term is done. The next couple of weeks are just going to be agonizing. So we're just going to have to trudge through them. You're going to do great. Um, so I will review those for you. And let me just put something as parentheses here. What I'm doing right now in this moment is I'm previewing. And I've noticed that in your outlines and with your speeches, that's been a little bit more of a challenge. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you, as an audience, an awareness to where we're going. The reason that's helpful is because what it does is it allows your audience to be comfortable and to listen to you instead of being anxious and wondering what you're going to bring up next. Okay, so let's end that parenthesis and let's get back to this module. So I'm going to be talking to you about chapter or module 6, excuse me. I'm going to be reviewing what is required for your informative speech, and then I'm going to be reviewing what is going to be required for your persuasive speech, because you're going to need to be doing these back to back. You're going to have assignments for your informative speech this week and for your persuasive speech. So just be mindful that this is all going to smoosh together so we can kind of wrap up the way these assignments work and wrap up this term. Okay. So let's look at this. What we're doing this week is, of course, we are going through the informative speech. So here are some examples. I tried to put examples everywhere. You'll notice that there are 3 different levels of examples. So in this case, this person is going to give you 3 speeches in this video. One of them, the first one, is a C version, so it would be a C grade. The second is a B version, which means it would be a B grade. And the last one is an A version, meaning an A grade. As you go through these speeches, you are going to see very, very clearly where the struggle is. Like, if you got, well, with the great speech, I'm always very generous with that one just because it can be kind of confusing. So I'm very, very generous in how I grade the great speech. But with your introductory speech and with this next one, you need to have an example of what that looks like. And those videos provide that. The same patterns apply to the persuasive speech. So you are going to want to watch that video for sure. Okay. You also are going to want to read chapters 14 through 15 and 19, and then do the quiz and look at chapter 7. Chapter 7 is about the persuasive speech. Remember, if you need to know about the informative speech, if you go back to module 5, you'll find information about the informative speech. This is so unhelpful. I should have put it on there. Up here in the student guidebook chapters under chapter 6. Chapter 6, informative speech. Chapter 7 is the persuasive speech. Okay, back down to this week. All right, so you have your reading, you have your quiz, and then your discussion, which again, you'll notice that these are really reflective. They're just like, how are you prepping? How are you getting through this term? And then you guys responding to each other. I've been really, really impressed with your posts. You've really leveled them up. I've been really, really impressed with your responses this term. And that's really like you guys, like you're the ones that are doing so incredibly well with that. So I just want to give all of you a shout out for that. you're going to have your informative speech outline due. Okay, that's going to be due in like 3 days, and then your informative speech itself will be due by the 17th at the end of this module. You need to practice. You need to practice this one, and so you're welcome to practice with friends and family, and they can fill out the practice form for you. Or you can, which we would prefer, have you sign up to work with the speech lab. Either way, I need some evidence that you have practiced. And then at the conclusion of this module, you're going to, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me clarify this. I'm just looking at the dates here. Your persuasive speech and your participation discussion is due on the 15th, and your informative speech outline is due on the 15th. That's Friday night. Your informative speech is due by Sunday night, and your practice form. And then your brainstorming for your persuasive speech is due by the end of the module. So please forgive me for getting those dates mixed up. Okay. So do you see that? If you use your calendar to organize your week, it should all be sorted out already. Okay, so that's what this looks like. It's a lot, all right, but it's okay. Like, we can do this. You've got it. You've done everything so far. I've actually been really, really impressed, and you kind of knew what you're signing up for. Okay, so let me also review with you the informative speech so you just have fresh on your mind what you need to do. Okay, so I'm in Top Hat under Chapter 6. This is the student guidebook, and I want to review again what the informative speech is. So the purpose here is not to persuade. That's usually the biggest hangup. Well, one of the bigger hangups on this. It needs to be 5 to 6 minutes long, and you need to have at least 3 primary sources. A primary source is something that's been peer reviewed or it comes from a credible source. If you have questions about what that is, you can always email me or text me. For those of you who have been brave enough to text me, hopefully you're aware it doesn't bother me. I am pretty quick to respond. Sometimes it takes a few hours, but I want to respond. Remember, this speech, and this is the key here, is worth 100 points. Okay. So every speech previous to we're building 25 points at a time. These are your bigger speeches. So if you're a C's get degrees kind of person, you want to do this speech and the next speech, and you probably are good because they're worth so many points. The other thing is you need an outline. That's the thing I want to review with you right now. Okay. Everything else you can read through on your own. But notice if you fill in the blank on this outline, you're going to be filling in the rubric essentially for yourself. Make sure you answer these questions. And if you do this, you're going to do an A grade on your speech. So don't even worry about that. Okay. Remember, when we're speaking, and gave you an example of a preview, the other thing I need you to be aware of for this class is transition statements. What that means is I'm going to summarize what I just talked about, and then I'm going to preview what I'm going to talk about next. So if you go back in the video, you'll see that I did this when I very first started talking about the informative speech. I summarized, and then I previewed what we're going to talk about next. And I'm doing little versions of that, and that's what I expect from you as you're going through this speech. Your outline is there to help you. And here's the cool part. If you choose to use Stream, you actually have a script, which can be your outline. If you remember, your outline is your script. And so we want to follow this as close to possible as we can. Some of the bigger challenges that I'm seeing in your outlines is that your conclusions are weak, your introductions are weak. So if we strengthen those up by following this pattern, then they're going to be awesome. Okay, here is an example, the informative speech student example. Now, obviously, this was written by a professor from the version of Willie the Wolverine, which I don't know why it makes me laugh. I think it's really goofy. But you can see what this should look like. You should be able to read through it. You'll be able to see the pattern. You'll be able to see what a transition statement looks like. Okay. Now, here's where we are having problems. This is probably the bigger issue that we're having is that we're missing in-text citations. Now, APA is the required citation style for this class. I've mentioned this. I gave you feedback both on your culture paper and on your outline that you need APA in-text citation feedback. So if you miss points, it was likely because there was no in-text citations. And with in-text citations also means that you need a reference list. Your reference list should look exactly like this. It is not works cited. That's MLA. It is not a bibliography. That's Chicago. In APA, it's called references, and it should look exactly like this. First line, hanging indent, and it should be in alphabetical order. If you are willing, you can go to the library and have someone help you. You can go to the writing lab and they will actually help you with your APA. You can actually run it through ChatGPT, and this is a great time for you to use it, ChatGPT or AI, whatever source you use. Perplexity to help you with this APA thing. Okay. Now, if for some reason you, I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay. Now, if for some reason you're confused about APA, I just cannot underscore the importance of using the tools that are available to you. Also, we can schedule a meeting. Um, there are loads of resources out there for you. And in your first module, there is actually a page specifically designated for APA. So we have a lot of tools for you to be able to help support you. Now, if you got points deducted and you're super frustrated about that, from one of your outlines or from your culture paper, it's likely because there was some weaknesses in that regard. You can always resubmit. You can always fix and resubmit. The only thing I ask is that you email me. Just fix what was missing where the rubric shows that you had problems and then resubmit it to me. I am a big fan of learning from what we do that needs to be improved. And that's my goal here with you. Okay. I just want you to learn from what you have done to improve, resubmit it, send me an email, and then you'll get full points. You will. So, and I don't like do a late deduction or anything like that. I really, really want to help you succeed in this class. Okay, friends, I hope this is super helpful. The persuasive speech, I am going to do a little bit more on in just a minute. Okay, so I am in chapter 7 in Top Hat. That is where you're going to find all the details of your persuasive speech. This is when we want to persuade someone to do something or believe something different or to just change something about themselves. This one is like I said, to persuade. It needs to be 6 to 8 minutes long, and the requirement is 5 to 7 primary sources. On Monday, I am going to record and release an entire video about the persuasive speech. So just a heads up on that, more details to come, but of course you can look at chapter 7 on your own time whenever will be helpful for you in preparation for that video that is coming. Just to recap, okay, here's my conclusion. I'm recapping. We've talked about chapter 6, we've talked about the module for this week, and we've kind of given you a heads up about chapter 7. And then you're going to get back to me if you have any questions. You're going to resubmit if you want full points for anything. And if you have any other questions or concerns, you can text me. I'm quick to respond and I don't have a problem. We can also set up a meeting. Okay, you guys, have a good weekend. Good luck with your informative speeches. Please contact me if you have any questions or need help. And please keep your time to the time frame. All right, best of luck.